Well, that depends on who you ask. If it's somebody informed, you'll get a different answer than you will from most neurotypicals. For most neurotypicals, it's their excuse for treating us like we're retarded. Oh, you just won't come off it. You just won't come off it. Let me tell you something. When we're abused a lot, and we take a lot more abuse than the rest of you. I've been pretty observant my entire life, while most of the people that I know are only observant when it comes to trying to get laid, or trying to get money, or trying to get something for free. Isn't that what it always is, right? Free stuff, free stuff. I get that free stuff yelled at me all the time. Oh, you're just after free stuff. No, I'm after actually being treated like a human being, but we're not. It's because neurotypicals, although they expect us to feel sorry for people who have Down syndrome, and they expect us to feel sorry for people who have cancer, and they want us to feel sorry for people who are black, and they want us to feel sorry for people who are gay. You know what? You don't try to medicate somebody out of being a homosexual, do you? You don't try to drug somebody for being black, do you? Oh, they're black. Maybe if we give them some pills, they won't be black anymore. But that's what you try to do with Tourette syndrome, which is a common comorbid condition that goes along with being autistic. Having aspergers in specific, that's high-functioning autism. Then you guys don't understand the difference between somebody who's got high-functioning autism and low-functioning autism. So you basically just see us all as retards. And that's horrible. It's horrible that you treat people with cerebral palsy that way. It's entirely friggin' horrible that you treat somebody with Down syndrome that way. It's also horrible that you take people like myself and you treat us that way as well. And you pretend that everybody who's retarded is schizophrenic, like they don't know right from wrong. But then when it comes to harming us, those of us with Asperger's, we have one very, very major disability. We're in a world full of idiots, and most of us are more intelligent. Far more intelligent than the rest of you. Like, a lot more intelligent than the rest of you. You blame us for the differences. It's our fault for not trying to be normal. And so on and so on. Does having Tourette syndrome hurt people? No. But if I exhibit signs of having Tourette syndrome, it makes people uncomfortable. But good luck explaining that to anybody that I'm related to. Because I'm related to a bunch of idiots. The freeze loop. We've been abused, and we try to turn it in. We already know that going to the cops is going to get us blown off. They're not going to investigate anything. And they're going to try to con us into believing that it's our fault. Or if we just ignore it, it'll stop. People go after what they see as weakness. Whether it's... You use the term mentally ill to blanket so many things. We need to stop. We need to stop harming innocent people over the term mentally ill. We need to stop letting people harm the disabled and blaming the disabled for that harm. One of the most harmful things that you do is saying you're sorry. Especially when you interrupt us to say that repeatedly. No, shut the fuck up. That's a goddamn icebreaker. You say it once at the beginning of the conversation, and that's it. After that, you need to fucking listen. The freeze loop is what happens when you're not listening. You're too busy trying to poke holes. Maybe if you would let me finish what I'm saying, you'd understand that there are no holes to poke. There's a difference between you selling a narrative and you listening to the victim. Kind of like when the cops say, oh, are you sure you didn't maybe ask for it a little bit? If you have to go in alone to turn in sexual assault against you? Are you sure you didn't maybe ask for it a little bit? Then there's the freeze loop, where those of us who are autistic, we get that from everyone. Literally everyone. People want to say there's nothing they can do. Really? What did Natalie's friends and family do when I told on them for stalking me? They did what I asked for your help doing. Turning them in. I didn't come forward because I was embarrassed. I don't get embarrassed. You also can't shame me because I know when it's bullshit. How many of you out there, if your children were having their lives threatened, how many of you would turn it in? Now, when you claim that somebody is your friend or family member, but you're also friends with their predators, and you're pulling shit like that, no, you're not up to anything useful. You're not up to anything good. You see how the only people who actually accept me into their groups, sort of, are druggies. And only when they want something. The rest of y'all, you assume my retardation, and that you talking over me is more important than looking at evidence. That you telling me how to think and how to feel. Or trying to convince me that things that I have evidence of didn't happen. Well, that just doesn't work when I have evidence of it. Your idea of helping another person is entirely dependent upon how much you actually care about them. If you actually care about somebody, you can take an hour out of your day to listen to them. I'm not saying that you have to do that every day, but when your friend comes to you, you claim that you're friend. Your friend comes to you because your friend's being abused. And you can literally spend dozens, if not hundreds of hours, arguing with that person who is being victimized. Try to convince them that if they don't talk about it, then it'll magically stop. No, it doesn't magically stop. Look at how many people are going to permanently hate me for the rest of their lives because I recorded them. And unlike with my predators, I post shit up in its entirety to the best of my ability. Being forced around from one place to another without the resources to do any of the things that people are asking. Meanwhile, they're asking me to do things that they know don't work when you have to go in alone. They're not going in with me and they want to turn everything into an argument. That's how you end up with the freeze loop. The problem is unresolved. The autistic person is still out on the streets, still being abused, and you want to send them to mental health when they are physically abused, when they are sexually abused, when they are financially abused. You send them to mental health, where mental health talks over them. You send them to the police alone. No, when somebody is called mentally ill, especially if they have something like Tourette syndrome, okay, this is something that you need to pay attention to. Tourette syndrome isn't just the cursing. It's a neurological disorder that is also in part a neuromuscular disorder. It's not the same as doing methamphetamines. It's not the same as being strung out on drugs. Without our friends and family members there, you get to see how many autistic people are shot for stimming. Stimming is a type of tick. If you know anything about Tourette syndrome, you do know what a tick is. We're not talking about a deer tick that hangs onto a blade of grass and then waits for you to catch it with your sock. By the way, that's how they do it. They got all them legs. A couple of them legs hold onto a blade of grass. The other legs just kind of dangle out there and they go to sleep. And they stay asleep until something walks by and pulls them off the blade of grass. For somebody who has Tourette syndrome, a tick is like doing this with my eyes or doing this with my wrists. But you also get to see how mean and bullying and condescending and cruel people are. Because I'm different. Rather than taking a drug test, every time that I went into the hospital, every single time that I went into the hospital, with the exception of when I was in the hospital once at Hood River, when I told them that somebody put something in a drink that they gave me, the cops didn't work together with me. No, what they wanted me to do is do all of their work for them. If your friend was just raped or just beaten and they got a hold of you, they're called mentally ill, so they're going to be blown off by everyone. They might be schizophrenic. They might be delusional. They might be paranoid. They also might have Tourette syndrome. They might be on drugs. But instead of doing my predators tells you, the evidence, I'm asking you to not believe everything that you're told, but to look at both sides, god damn it. But you show me talking over me and talking down to me like I'm a retard, telling me what to think and what, literally making zero effort to make a call with me and turn in what you mean. But no, you'll promise to do that and you'll say, oh, Sean, it's horrible, all these things these people did to you. I saw those things happen. I saw this and I saw that. Well, then come forward, bitch. Your assumptions of autism are killing us. Are police more likely to kill a disabled person or a black person? They have equal populations. Well, 51% of those killed by the police last year were disabled. 24% were black. That's up 2% from 2019 for black people. Both the black population and the disabled population are a little over 60 million people. The homeless population is about 600,000. And yet the homeless population, well, 0.18% of the population accounts for 61% of those killed by police last year. You're all taught to hate the homeless, and nobody cares about the homeless. Most of us aren't out here because we're bad people. We're out here because we were victimized by your society for being different. Before I ever got to go to the hospital here, I already had issues with the cops breaking the law and helping my predators to get away, refusing to collect evidence, refusing to look at evidence, refusing to investigate. How many times have I spoken with cops in this town who told me that, oh, well, we don't do it that way when I wanted to make a written report? Oh, this is a small town. We don't do it that way. Yes, you have to. It's against the law for you not to. But it's that procrastination, even just for a few days. Then they say it's my fault because I didn't write a written report when I wasn't allowed. Then they want to, after months and months and months, tell me that I can write it down on a regular piece of paper. No, that is not the way that it works. They do have pieces of paper with their official letterhead. I don't know how many times I've gone in there with a piece of paper after being told that I tell the police officer and he'll decide if it's illegal, not if he's busy talking over us. It's not that we're stuck in the freeze loop. It's that you're stuck in a frame of mind that we're retarded and we don't fucking matter. And you treat us like we're not human beings. You're all pieces of shit, every one of you. None of you get to play innocent in this. You force me to act like you. And then you pretend like I'm a horrible person for acting like you. You're allowed to scream at me and yell at me and threaten to kill my friends and family over and over and over again with no fucking remorse. Yes, I am a better person than you are. I am a better person than all of you. Because you are all naturally inclined to be liars. Take a look at how many people pretended like they cared. How many people typed they're sorry or said they're sorry and just kept doing it over and over and over again. How about stop interrupting me to tell me that you're fucking sorry? I know you're pathetic. That's the way that you are using the word sorry. It's not the way that you're meaning to use the word sorry. It denotes that you're bored. When you say, I'm sorry, and when you say it over and over again, it means that you're bored. What's going through your head at that point in time is telegraphed by your words. God, I wish you'd just shut up. That's the problem with pretending to give a shit and then giving every indication that you don't. When you are interrupting the victim for any reason whatsoever, especially when that person has a communication disability, you are derailing the train and you are doing it knowingly, willingly, and intentionally. You show how much you care about somebody by how much you are willing to listen. When the victim has to repeatedly talk over you because you won't stop interrupting and ask you to please listen, but you're just going to yell at them and tell them that it's your turn to talk, it's your turn to talk. It's always your turn to talk. Even if I'm talking, you're not thinking about what it is that I'm telling you. What's going through your head is what you're going to say next. And that doesn't help anyone. That makes things worse for all of us. Then you want to throw your projections at me. Many people did horrible things, and of course they couldn't think of a single thing that I had ever done wrong or bad to them. So they just threw rumors in my face.
So, boy's broke.
Nature of the beast. I get disability money. It's not enough to live on.
No.
All of my money gets spent maintaining my vehicle and running around services that do jack squat.
Yeah.
And after doing that for 7 months here, it has cost me all of my money every single month for me to run around and get victimized by the people that are supposed to help us. I'm autistic, not retarded, but treat me like I'm retarded.
Same. You get the touch and shit too?
I do like hugs, but I want to know that it's coming.
No, you get like the exterior, like the Cybertronic touchy. You get that shit too?
I'm not sure what that is.
No?
No.
I get touched by people that aren't there.
Oh, you mean like You get a feeling on parts of your body.
No, I actually get touched.
I don't have that. Well, I do have parts of my body that are extra sensitive.
Yeah.
And because it's a neuromuscular disorder in part, I'll do this with my wrist because it feels like it's got tension on it, but it's not like being actually touched.
Yeah.
I do have people that get a hold of me on the internet and tell me they're going to kill me and my friends and family and cut my throat and cut off my balls and stuff, which is pretty cool.
Made it cool anyways, at least.
Yeah, I try to pretend that it's not as bad as it seems, but my best friend got her brains blown out because people didn't want to listen to an autistic retard.
Yeah.
But I'm not a retard. That's the problem. A lot of people, their association with autism is people who are confrontational and argumentative. No, it's that we're not heard because of people's assumptions that we're stupid.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's people don't know the difference between autism and schizophrenia, or they want to use the term mentally ill. And this hurts every single person out here and every person in a house, because your diagnosis is never going to be mentally ill, because mentally ill is not a diagnosis. Schizophrenia is a diagnosis, and there are ways that you need to treat somebody who's schizophrenic. Autism is a diagnosis. There are ways that you need to treat somebody who's got that. Same thing with PTSD. Same thing with clinical depression, chronic depression. These are all actual diagnoses, though. Whereas mentally ill, that's where people who are being naughty go, oh, well, you can't do anything. I'm mentally ill. Or you should let me do this because I'm mentally ill. And then it's from the other side, it's, oh, well, you're mentally ill. I don't need to listen to you. You're mentally ill. You don't know what you're talking about. You're mentally ill.
Yeah.
The insinuation that you're an idiot.
They think they can take your rights, too.
They do take our rights.
Well, they think they can. They ain't taking mine. They ain't taking my legs. Thank you, man.
One of the most important things as a disabled person in this country is that the fact is people are going to be busier caring about, well, their drugs and their alcohol use. They're partying on the weekends, hanging out with their fun friends. If you're not happy all the time, you're not fun, and people don't want to be around you. Do they stop to consider that the reason you stopped being fun is because you were being abused? Do they stop to consider that maybe the reason you told them you were being abused is because you're being abused? When people try to convince you that you're too stupid to know what being punched in the face is, or they try to teach you like you are somehow wrong for speaking up about abuse, like you're a bad person when you try to speak up about abuse. When you try to explain that you have disabilities that you can't just magically turn off, and people think that they can just talk over your disabilities, tell you to do things that you're incapable of. That's the freeze loop. It's not that we're stuck in the freeze loop, it's that you are. You're not hearing us, so we have to repeat ourselves. Your assumptions, you keep repeating your assumptions, and we keep repeating to you the actual events. Meanwhile, you are so delusional as to believe that anybody who is not you must be retarded and not know what it is to be abused. Only you could ever possibly know that, couldn't you? No autistic person who has ever been assaulted for stimming could ever possibly know what abuse is. Isn't that right? Now, how many homeless people are autistic? Well, quite a few of us. What are your chances of being killed for stimming by a police officer? They're pretty good, but your chances of being killed just for being homeless are even greater. Not for women, only for men. 96% of those killed by police last year were men. 61% of those killed by police last year were homeless. 51% were disabled. But then we're supposed to look at your side. We do see your side. You're idiots. Black people telling us, oh, well, you need to drop all of your stuff and fight for our rights just for colored folks. You know what? I'm colored. I'm pink. Where are my rights? My disabilities didn't go away, and I am more likely to be killed as a homeless person than any black person who is not homeless. I am more likely to be killed than any other any other disabled person who is not homeless. I am more likely to be killed by the police because I am a male. Now, we've shown that women in nearly every category lead when it comes to violence, domestic violence. We also get to see how the courts show extreme bias against men. When it comes to abuse against us, we can't even get the evidence seen. Everybody just blow us off and tell us what to think and what to feel. People who are supposed to help us absolutely do not help us. They help our predators by wasting our time, by giving false promises. I believe in doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do. But you know what? I'm not going to pretend that just because somebody is a female that she can't be a predator, because I've known too many female predators in my life. Then, of course, you guys only want to focus on sexual predators. Well, you know what? Women are more likely to be sexual predators. More likely by a lot. Men are more likely to be convicted. The average sentence for a woman who has sex with a student as a teacher is not that great. A woman who is convicted of having sex with a minor serves an average of 8 months. 8 months. We give women leniency. When they commit a bunch of little crimes, you let them get away with all of them. Oh, we should let them, they're women. Or, oh, you know, it's not that big of a thing. No, it really is a bigger thing. Because every time that you let her get away with that, she gets a bigger head and does it again. More frequently and more often. The freeze loop is your assumption that we're fucking retarded. The freeze loop is you only hearing your own internal monologue. You can't hear a word that we're saying. Most of my friends showed that they weren't my friends when I couldn't help them the way that they were asking me to anymore. When I couldn't be there to bust my ass for those people for pennies on the dollar, if anything at all. When I wasn't able to physically help them to rebuild their things or to move their things, you get to see how much I really meant to them. I meant enough for them to talk over me. That's the freeze loop. It's your disrespect, your assumptions, your stupidity and ignorance, your unwillingness to actually listen to another human being. I know how you neurotypicals work. I've heard all of your excuses my entire life. You know what? I've seen many times through my life that you may promise that you'll help me. You may swear up and down that you care about me. Hell, we could have been friends for 20 years. But the moment there's a penis or vagina throwing itself at you, your loyalties go right out the window. A lot of the people who were involved in this situation, who were swearing up and down they were going to help me, they were going to this, they were going to that did not follow through. Why didn't they? Each and every one of them has a whole slew of excuses. The thing is, every one of these people also knew that I am an at-risk adult. that I am a disabled adult in an at-risk situation. Did anybody ever actually help me to turn in Natalie Bollinger or any of the Bollinger family before or after Natalie's death? No. But look at where all of my money was spent. All of my disability money got spent hopping around from place to place to place to place to go to all the places where I was told if I go there, then I'll get help. I'll get help stopping the abuse. If I go here, if I go there, if I go to the Front Range, if I go to Nicole Peralta, if I go to Tamara, if I go to my friends and family, if I go to the police. No, I'm blown off by all of them, same as I'm blown off by all of you. This is why assisted termination of life needs to be legal. That and the fact that when somebody sticks something like that in their face and blows their head off, there's quite a mess. And somebody has to find that mess and clean that mess. No matter what, you're not going to understand my abilities or what that means because you're too busy being selfish, talking about yourself, thinking about yourself, wanting to go do anything except be a real friend. So if you're not going to be a real friend, you can go ahead and complain all you want that I spoke up about you not being a real friend. But the evidence shows that you weren't a real friend. It shows that rather than speaking up, you thought that a sandwich would fix it. Sandwich doesn't fix it. A sandwich doesn't fix your miseducation. You assume that the government's going to keep their word because you're a moron. On the bright side, I didn't make you a moron. It's not that I'm stuck in the freeze loop, it's that you are. I'm stuck in the abuse, which includes you talking over me and disrespecting me, and that includes telling me how sorry you are. Why don't you use the right word? Use your right words. The word is pathetic. You're pathetic. You're saying sorry, but you're doing the same things. So you're not sorry. Your words are useless. They're meaningless. When you pretend to care about somebody and then you ignore them for years and then you make literally every excuse that you can while still trying to pretend like you want to be friends. Why are you trying to pretend? If you just ignore me, you never get a hold of me to see how I'm doing. And if you do ask, you don't let me answer. Once in a great while, somebody will get a hold of me. They'll type something real quick. Hey, Sean, how you doing today? I'm doing horrible. And that right there, I'm not allowed to say because you are so used to social niceties. This is what society is. Pretending everything is okay. Well, it's not. Getting drugged out of your gourd until everything is okay, but it's not. Not taking responsibility for your actions. Blaming others for your actions. Enforcing the actions of others. If Natalie and her friends and family had left me alone after Virginia, we could have avoided all of this. Of course, if I'd had a friend or family member who cared to do something other than do drugs or get focused, hyper-focused on sex. See, that's the thing, is that when you're called mentally ill, you have to have a friend or family member who cares, or you're not going to be heard. And people aren't going to hear you. Not if you're a male. Not if you're disabled. Not if you're homeless. If your friends and family don't care, that makes it okay to hurt them. And you've shown that loud and clear. You don't care who hurts me. It doesn't matter to you who hurts me. What matters is your opinion. Well, you must be walking around on your hands because your opinion smells like shit. There's a lot of people who knew my predators, are friends with my predators, and blew me off for years only to tell me they knew my predators and were friends with my predators. Predators like Don Bird, Blaine McCrelius, Kenneth Wilson, Leatha Plunkett. Danny was even telling me that some of her friends were friends with Natalie. And there's George. He was a witness to at least one of the assaults by the guards in the Boulder County Jail. He's recorded on my channel. And although people want to treat me like I killed Christine, he also admits to being a drug dealer and admits that I don't do drugs. That's recorded on this channel. You tell me it's my fault for going to drug addicts. You know what? I do this with my eyes, so you assume that I'm on drugs anyway. You treat me like I'm a drug addict. If I come forward, you pretend I'm schizophrenic. When I'm abused to the point that I'm literally screaming for help, you pretend that I'm being irrational. No, you're irrational. You're idiots. All of you. Shannon Alvarado wants to repeat how she's got compassion. No, the fuck she doesn't. She is a selfish alcoholic and nothing more. She had everything in her life handed to her and mooched off of other people for her entire life, including while I was there. When you guys want to call me a mooch, you know what? Any one of these people could have stopped and helped me to get my fucking disability money back, instead of treating me like I'm a bad person, because they wanted to spend money instead of helping me get my disability back. How about help me to get my money back, instead of doing only what you want to do and then throwing it in my face? How about what we agreed upon? How about you do that? How about you keep your word? Oh yes, I forgot. You're neurotypicals, and that's not what you do. You're stuck in a freeze loop, assuming everybody else is retarded. We the people is not we the people. You are too selfish.